Have you ever walked away from a coaching conversation with your team thinking, did that even matter? Or are they ever going to change? Or am I actually making an impact? Or am I just wasting my time? You pour so much into your team. You mentor them when they're stuck, you hype them up when they doubt themselves, you stay up at night worrying about how to help them succeed. And yet sometimes it feels like all that energy goes nowhere. No breakthrough, no big transformation, no thank you. Just silence. And let's be real, silence is hard when your heart is invested. But what if the impact you're having just isn't visible yet? What if the change is happening and it's happening underground? I want to share a principle with you that's completely changed how we lead our salons and support our team. It's called the Acorn Principle. So, the Acorn Principle, really cool principle. So, imagine this. Imagine you're holding an acorn in your hand. So, there's your little acorn in your hand, right? It's small, unimpressive, easy to overlook. But inside that tiny shell is the blueprint for a massive oak tree that's tall, it's strong, and deeply rooted. But here's what's wild: that acorn doesn't become a tree overnight. No way, Jose. It doesn't become a tree overnight. It actually, when you plant, in fact, when you plant an acorn, the first thing it does is push roots down, not up. Before it ever becomes visible above ground, it's working hard to build stability beneath the surface. And that's what leadership is like. When you lead a salon, when you coach, when you mentor, when you correct, when you support, it may look like nothing's happening. But under the surface, you're building roots. Like you're truly building roots. Isn't that so cool? Every feedback session, every hard conversation, every moment you choose patience over frustration is you planting an acorn. Now, let's talk about the problem with how most salon owners measure success. We live in a culture of instant everything. There's instant likes, instant bookings, instant results. And if we don't see a change right away, we assume it didn't work. But listen up, team development is not DoorDash, it's gardening. And here's the truth no one talks about. Like, you might be leading someone right now who won't get it for another year or two, or heck, even 10. And that's okay. Let me say that again. That's okay, because your role isn't to force growth. It's to create the kind of environment where growth becomes inevitable. So let's make a shift here from thinking like a fixer to thinking like a farmer. Fixers want immediate outcomes. They solve the problem, want the results, and move on. But farmers understand seasons. They know that some seeds need more time, some need different soil, some need more sun, some need more shade. And some salon ownership is the same. It's farming. You plant, you water, you prune, you wait, and then one day, maybe not even in your salon, a team member, past or present, will have a moment where they shine. They'll have a moment where they shine and where they take the very words you poured into them and pass them on to someone else. That's when you know the seed took root. I'm going to give you a real life example. I'll never forget the time I spoke at a cosmetology school. It was one of those visits where you're like, where you show up, you pour your heart out, you share what you wish someone would have told you starting out. And then you leave wondering, did anyone even hear me? I remember driving home that day thinking, I hope I made a difference, but I honestly don't know if I did. There were no tears, no standing ovations, congratulations, no standing ovations, just a few polite nods and the usual scrolls on the phone. Then, fast forward a few years later, I'm shopping at Target with my niece, pushing a cart full of snacks when someone stops me in the aisle. She looks me straight in the eyes and she says, "Hey, Jen, you probably don't remember me, but you came to my beauty school and you shared something that day that changed my life. And I just wanted to thank you." I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned. I didn't remember her face. Of course I didn't. But I remembered, but she remembered my words. I didn't remember her face, but she remembered my words. Words I almost convinced myself didn't matter. And that moment, it was a full circle Acorn Principle moment. Because the truth is, you don't always know the day you plant a seed, and you almost never get, to see what it takes to know when it takes root. You almost never get to see when it takes root. But when it does, it's so powerful. When it does, it's so powerful. So whether you're, mentoring a new stylist or, leading a team meeting or, just trying to be a light for someone who's struggling, you're planting seeds. Let me say that again. You're planting seeds. So good. One day, maybe years from now, someone might stop you in a grocery store or send you a DM or say thank you in a way that makes every moment worth it. Just because you cannot see it now doesn't mean it's not growing. So here's the question. Here's the question I want you to consider. And the question is, are you measuring your leadership based on visible results or planted seeds? Because the truth is, not every win is loud, not every transformation is immediate, and not every oak tree grows in front of you. Some of your biggest wins in your career will happen in secret, and that's okay. Let me say that again. That's okay, because your job isn't to harvest. Your job is to plant well, consistently with love and patience. And if this resonated with you, here's what I want you to do today. I want you to, number one, think of someone, just think of someone you're leading right now, someone who feels stuck, resistant, or unmotivated. And ask yourself, what seed can I plant today without expectation? Number two, celebrate small signs of root growth, small signs of root growth. And number three, reflect often. Ask yourself, what seeds am I planting today? So keep going, keep planting, and trust that forest you're growing. It starts with every acorn you place in the soil today. Thanks for watching. And if you want more leadership tools, emotional intelligence strategies, and systems that help your salon grow from the inside out, subscribe to this channel and check out Salon Business School. We're here to walk with you every step of the way.